rare to find a Mexican that is not aggressive. So it's funny that how these competitors are going to contrast themselves in this next set of winners semifinal.
I'm here for it. I love, like I said, when the matches are all about throwing hands, it's great. Sometimes you see Roy throwing hands by himself, just kind of putting out pressure on a Ghost of Christmas Past. But for Chag, you have the ability to just control that space, control the air, and just keep him from jumping around as much as possible. But the uppies out of shield are going to be a pretty solid option too. And shoutouts also, once again, to not only Moist for putting in a lot of effort between a lot of other people, but Crime Esports as well recently, giving Chag the opportunity to get out more. These are two who are recently sponsored, who have been really putting a lot of respect on their name and making people understand why they got picked up.
Seaway, that's really nice of those organizations to put up their sights on us Mexicans as well, because I know sometimes the borders can be such a nuisance to deal with, but just like that, recognizing good players and always putting them up, it's the way to go moving forward. Just like Moist Goblin is going forward once again, pushing that double-edged dance at all times by the ledge, knowing that he can get so much out of it.
I'm about to start calling like Goblin Ryu because he's the world warrior. He's been going to France, he's been going to Mexico, he goes wherever somebody wants him to fly out to, and he's been putting in a lot of effort to make sure that he moves up, because on the other end of it too, he has another Roy on his team who's been putting in work, but that explosive flame also going to put in work on a pretty poor recovery from Roy. You only have like one route you could take. Also, shout out to players who actually pick good music before any match. I appreciate you dearly.
I do believe Goblin is no stranger to Mexican soil, so yes, I have to agree with you. The fact that he's been grinding it off and just getting consistent results as well, so much so to get recently sponsored by Moist Esports. It just speaks volumes of how much he has improved. But however, he's facing against Chag, one of our strongest competitors here in Mexico overall. Right now, it's looking pretty comfortable for Goblin, who was pretty much setting up the pace with his aggression and solidifying himself with a quite comfortable lead, at least as we speak.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, the biggest part of what establishes fear in you as somebody who's really good as Chag is with someone like Palu is the problem that Roy is simplification. It's like simplification is key. He's so good at just pressuring you to a point where all of your normal game plan doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
And you get stuck because you don't want to challenge the frame data that is Roy on that jab or just on a down tilt. But Chag's starting to slowly make it work. The air dodge getting punished by the explosive flame. Almost getting the other one there somehow, some way. That up air did not get the hit on that air dodge, and it's going to be Goblin who walks away with that stock.
A good read that didn't reach ends meet. That is a little sour on Chag's mouth for sure. Bit of a foul taste. However, he still has enough time and good solid opportunities to bring that back, maybe finding a backer. But as long as he finds himself, there you go, there it is, exactly as I mentioned. As long as he finds himself open to maybe a shield or punishing something, he could still very well bring it back. However, Goblin keeps the aggression on at all times, and it is now Chag's turn to hold that center stage, at least for a little while longer.
You know, I'm going to start calling Palutena's back throw Palutena's guidance. I have no idea how this entire time, all these years of casting, I've never called it that once. It's such a free name for that back throw. But the pressure, also basically Palutena's guidance on the landing, trying to find your way back down to the ground is so tough. As Goblin tried to read the roll on the tech there with the falling up air, he had the platform position for a follow-up nair. It was so good. Aggressive double-edged dance, pretty smart there. And in this position, staring at 54%, we've said this time and time again, but this is an even game because this is one jab back air away or a double-edged dance at the ledge from sealing the deal. So if you're Chag, you got to watch out for how often you move at the ledge.
You don't want to give Roy any rage or opportunity to use it. You know that as soon as you cross that boundary, the threshold of the strong hit of the binding blade, you are in trouble. And right now, it's Chag's opportunity to do something different. However, Goblin is just not letting go, missing that opportunity to get the stock just yet. It's escaping him. But as Chag tries to get away, he gets caught once again. Goblin going for the hyper-aggressive opportunity, the hyper-aggressive choice, but it's paying off just yet, Ajax.
Yeah, hyper aggressive indeed. He won ledge so many times. Finds the late hit of the up air, which still connects into another sweet spot up air though as he gets it. And that the universal signal of just run it back. Yeah, there you go. Just run it right back. He wants that stage again. Felt like it was comfortable. And I'm super surprised that Goblin decided to go for that off stage because granted his jump was gone. But you get a reactable down air potentially on that teleport. Decided instead to go and challenge him off stage with the neutral B to try and mix him up. That is going to be in the back of Chag's head later because he's going to go, why is he down here with me? And that's going to make you scared of your recoveries as the set goes on. And let's see if it makes a difference here in game number 2.
Yeah, definitely Chag needs to change a little bit of his approaches because some of them were pretty unsafe overall. I would like to argue that Chag is usually a bit of it more patient, but hey, he's facing against Goblin, a Roy that is super aggressive, so I wouldn't be surprised if Chag is just trying to match that same energy, and it is paying off, but let's be real, Roy gets much more of that close quarters combat.
Absolutely. It's just like you have to match the tempo of someone like Goblin, who's really good. I mean, there's a reason why he's got an undefeated set count against Tweak for over the history. A lot of people have this weird misconception that Tweak is super aggressive. He's actually really passive. And Goblin smothers it. He forces him back. And that is pretty much what you could run into as you try to go for an explosive flame because you try to call the dash dance away, and instead he just runs up on you and take a full forward smash punish.
Yeah, that's exactly what he needs, adding up a little bit of extra pressure to feel comfortable enough to try new things, to be smart about every single approach. And yeah, if he wants to be aggressive, he can do it now that he's holding a bit of a lead. Goblin is indeed putting up a lot of work into that binding blade at all times, and Chag is struggling to get something going, at least at the moment, missing that 2-frame that could have been really good to get something going. However, it is Goblin who is getting so much mileage out of this first stock, still with the double edge dance with a little bit of a mix-up, Ajax. I'm sure you've noticed that.
Oh my goodness, he's been changing it up so well over and over again at the ledge. Now trying to go for the early counter. You haven't seen that one pretty much so far, so that was a pretty decent idea in a nutshell, but the aggressive approach with the explosive flame, trying to get back on the stage, having a rough go about it, but the whiff on the double edge dance finally gives him an opportunity to actually get a back air to get a KO. Chag's still got a lot of room to work with though.
Yeah, it's looking quite difficult on this one. He does have a tendency to like fall back whenever he is in the back pedal. He does have the clutch factor sometimes, but Chag is struggling a little bit lately with the mentality portion of the competing. Like he's pretty rough on himself at times, but it's still paying off because he does get the practice. He appreciates the moment. He's just passionate, and I think that's something that pretty much separates us Mexicans from a lot of players, the passion. But if you're speaking about passion, you're speaking about Goblin with that insane aggression that just keeps pushing him further in this winner's side of bracket. One game away from advancing even more.
I mean, you want to talk about passion too? Go visit Florida. Go get anywhere near a Florida crowd during a major. Like CEO right around the corner. You will know they're in the building as they get hyped up for their boys. And they start to let you know that they are ready to try and let you get bodied. And Goblin is of that same mentality. He is of that same just approach of, I want to be the best and I'm going to be the best. And that is a really hard thing to shut down that confidence level. As Roy gets confident, he starts pushing and finding a lot of free frame traps, which we saw a couple times, 2 hits of double edge dance and an air dodge read. Chag's got to get like unorthodox or something at this point. What is it out of Chag that you've seen that's been a little bit obvious for him to try and get away from this, because he's having a hard time about it here, sir?
I honestly don't know what the problem is. I couldn't tell you in this case specifically. Usually Chag knows what to do, what the game plan is, but whatever it is, it's not working right now. And I don't claim to know better than him, and I would never do that, especially in this situation, because right now he is the one under pressure at the moment. Goblin incessant aggression is just doing so much work at the moment. He's not getting those 2 frames that Palutena, it's just so good, like so recognized for. Something is falling off in Chag's game plan, and it's definitely showing if you take a look up there at the scoreboard.
Oh my goodness, massive wish punters right there. And a big part of it is like Goblin's played anti-grab so well because Palutena wants grabs just as much as she wants those nairs. Because if you don't set up somebody to jump by getting those grabs or getting a very bad DI on the left-hand side of that and taking him off the top, off that up air, I definitely do not believe that should have killed at 94. So that puts you right back into the game, luckily.
Another opportunity for Chag to shine, basically. The problem is that he's not being too careful, not respecting Goblin's approaches, and that's something that you definitely need to keep in mind whenever you approach, especially since the Binding Blade can be so fast and so devastating at all times. These nairs are slowly starting to work once again, but look, just Goblin just standing there, waiting for that shield to drop and punish accordingly.
Look at once again. All right, there's a big pivot grab. Gonna get ledge, but once again misses on that down tilt we were talking about, but does have a slight lead. Luckily for Goblin, he avoids that. Reverse hit of Nair coming in, actually reversing the situation, which is huge for him. But back to center stage, both of them trying to box it out. You gotta watch out because you're getting near jab bear ranges, which you're pretty much at right now. Like, Chag's just trying to find ledge as if he can anytime soon. Doesn't take the big whip punish.
He's fishing for them, and I don't know if you noticed, but that was a bit of a jank back air that went behind that shield. Luckily enough for Chag, he was still under the shield, so it really didn't hit him that much. But you gotta be careful because both of them are at kill percent. I would like to argue Palutena is even closer considering Roy's strength overall, but this is what you want. This is what you want to put extra pressure and still not getting those two frames that Chag needs in order to confirm a kill. He's going to rely on the back air, those neutral interactions that come by just empty hopping around, trying to get something started, and this is where Chag needs to get the most out of, and he does. He gets at least 50%, which is absolutely good for this set to be alive.
Kept advantage going really well there, straight to 61%. Oh, he had the read on the teleport in, tried to get the dash cancel up tilt on the reverse, but does not get it, but does close it out there. 61% to 0. Chag pretty much facing winner side elimination here if he doesn't figure it out, but does have a nice lead. Reverse into F tilt, gives him ledge. He's kind of controlling him a bit, but here comes Goblin.
Oh, this is the scary part because he knows what he needs to stay alive, but look, the Goblin pressure is on, poking that shield, poking every single time he gets an opportunity to get closer. And this is the dangerous part because Roy can be really good at taking stocks like this, especially after Rage is slowly starting to build. Not quite enough, but the percentage is super close, and now it takes no more than a tilt or maybe a double-edged dance, but he was unfortunate enough to land on that explosive flame, which gives Chag another fighting opportunity to remain in the winner's side of bracket. Ajax, what are you witnessing right now?
Put him in the hot seat, like literally caught him right on the end, trying to fade away from that explosive flame, caught him right at the edge. But one of the things that's so good about Roy and that last stock is how much he will overwhelm you, because he was behind like 80-ish% and that disappeared in the blink of an eye purely by just presence of how annoyingly good that frame data is on those aerials and how much strength he has from the sweet spots of it. He got himself back into the game, but Chag was doing much better of actually landing more grabs that set. He was doing a lot better of winning a ledge too.
Yeah, more defensively as well. I noticed that he was being more patient when it came to approaching. You really don't want to close those decent distances too quick because Roy is going to get the most out of them, definitely. That teleport and pressure by the ledge is definitely something that Goblin is taking advantage of. However, even though right now Goblin is on the lead, it is turn for Chag to get something started, and he does get that indeed 60% almost, but keeps chasing Goblin around until he does eventually follow up with a grab, keeps punishing, opting for an auto reticle at point blank. It's a little surprising and a little depressing actually that he went for that option.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. You don't want to be whipping directly in front of him. We saw that earlier too when he whipped. He took a whole forward smash to the face. So that's one of the last things you want to do. But that back air at ledge, you force him to go low, gets the counter. Even if it doesn't get the full knockback or a strong hit, you ain't making that one back. So Chag takes himself a first stock. It could be a very short stock, so he has to keep himself safe.
Yeah, first time that he actually gets that, but as he tries to teleport away, gets to meet the binding sword. Really good option there from Goblin, recognizing when to go for it and punishing effectively. Right now, things are still quite similar, quite even when it comes to percentage, but right now Goblin is taking the most, and you know how well he does by the ledge. You want to keep track of those options because they could be extremely dangerous, and Chag is not getting those bread and butters that Palutena gets, at least for now. Let's see if he can get something off stage.
He's gotten a few where it matters, but like when it gets to around this point, he pretty much loses. Like we haven't seen back throw or excuse me, down throw back air or anything like that out of Chag, because just the way that Goblin realizes I'm at kill percent. I know you're hunting for the grab, so what if I just constantly space you out with nairs and these fairs, and you can't do anything about it? You have to beat me straight up because your aerials aren't better than mine outside of that back air. As he finds him on the way back in, but he anti-aired him with the jab and caught him with the back air. You saw Chag taking a second to try and recollect himself, because this is once again facing elimination from winner's side.
Yeah, he knows this is his last stock. He needs to take a breather. Finally gets the 2-frame, but gets no punish out of it, which is absolutely devastating. That's exactly what he needed. However, he gets another opportunity. He escapes the explosive flame, once again missing those backers. I don't know if this is Goblin's insane work at avoiding these, or just Chag missing his mark. And look at these juggles are going to put it on the 50s already, so that means that he's not too far away from losing that stock, especially considering how strong Roy can get with the insane amount of rage that he's building quite quickly.
Yeah, that's pretty much just the fear. Just like we were talking about before, last stock, what did Goblin do? He just kept running up on Chag and making him feel uncomfortable. The up he got a shield. Yeah, if you live that, you end up losing the stock, but he gets the damage on. Now Chag finding the dash attack, but still doesn't get it. Big explosive blade, but he whips out down air out of shield is finally the option. Chag has only one stock left, one opportunity. If you get a down throw or one big nair, as he tries to find it right now, here's Sir. He can get him up to like 60. He's having a bit of a hard time with it though, because Goblin's trying not to let him get it as he gets the parry, and he gets the dash attack, and Goblin gets it 3-1 and moves into winners finals.
It's sad to admit this, but Goblin played insanely well. He had Chag right where he wanted it at all times, and it's unfortunate because it's my boy, you know. It's we of course rooting for the Mexican competitors here, but it's just we gotta recognize when Goblin did a phenomenal job. We admit it and we appreciate it, because that not only gives you guys in the audience a great show, but it also helped us elevate the skill cap within our region as well. So we always appreciate these